I go looking for Neil Nastro. So when they come directly to the payphone, they kill Nastro. He drives directly to the payphone, and he's with another guy. I don't know the guy, who he is. I'm saying, it ends up being his uncle. So he pulls up. When he pulls up, I pull up right in front of him where he can't go nowhere. As I pull up, the kid Tommy Reynolds jumps out of the car. And he's got a 357 on him. I see him, he opens up the door. He puts the gun to Neil Nastro's head, boom. The other guy just looks at him. I think they were coked up. And Tommy Reynolds puts the gun to the other guy's head and just boom, kills both of them. Double homicide. For me, it's like a big thing. I'm saying a double homicide, fucking murder. I'm only like 19 years old. Tommy Reynolds gets in the car. Joey Cap got out of the car too, and he started touching the door handles. I said, Joe, what the f are you touching the car for? I'm saying. As soon as they get in my car, I just stepped on the gas and I went, eh, and I took off down the block. And as I took off, you got this guy, you know, he's taking his time, walking down the street. You see me speeding, maybe he thought he was gonna stop, and I just ran him over and he went flying up in the air.
Mob murders not only mess up sidewalks, they also hurt neighborhood reputations. Bensonhurst in Brooklyn is a perfect example.
You know, the mob was always in our neighborhood.
This is what comes to many people's minds when they think of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Organized crime figures being gunned down in the streets. That's what happened to Carmine Variali and Frank Santoro last Thursday on Bath Avenue in Bensonhurst.
Paulie G was murdered. It just, you know, it's a shame that his own friends had to kill him. Saying because he would never kill his own friend. And when you can't trust your friend, what kind of life is that? To all the kids out there, you think that, you know, this mob shit is so good. Now I'm looking at serious time. I'm not looking at 5 years, I'm not looking at 6 years. I'm looking at 25 years to life.
By the 1990s, organized crime in America isn't what it once was. Most of the old bosses who once ran one of the 5 families are now in prison, some fearing life sentences and retaliation from their own crew. Gangsters everywhere start cooperating with the United States government.
News 4 has learned exclusively that Gravano has turned canary. He will be the star witness for federal prosecutors at the Gotti trial, the trial where he was supposed to be the second defendant. The idea that Gotti's own underboss would testify against him, under oath, in open court, sent shockwaves through mob circles.
My name is Michael Francis. I am here today to testify about the ties between organized crime and professional boxing.
Indicted today, 38 alleged key mob figures, among them Nicodemo Scarfo, charged with leading the Scarfo crime family from his prison cell by working through his son, Nicky Jr., also named in today's indictment.
While the Colombo, Genovese, Lucchese, and Gambino families were facing indictments and severe legal issues, it gave plenty of leeway for the Bonanno family to thrive in a time where it seemed things were going downhill for organized crime.
Attorney General Robert Del Tufo says the indictments will cripple 6 of the 7 leading crime families in the state.
We're talking about the Bruno Scarfo family, the Di Cavalcante family, Lucchese, Genovese, Colombo, and then Gambino families.
With the head of the Bonanno family, Joseph Massino, behind bars, Anthony Old Man Sparrow would take the reins of acting boss.
The reputed mafia boss in New York City was arrested today. Joseph Massino allegedly runs the Bonanno crime family.
Spiro was one of the last major mob figures still on the street, and a believer in the traditional mafia values of secrecy, respect, and murder. Kids from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, like Jimmy Calandra, who didn't have proper direction in life, grew up idolizing the mob figures in their neighborhood.
You know, the mob was always in our neighborhood. We were always associated with these families. In my neighborhood, you had the Gambino family, you had the Bonanno family, and Lucchese family. The Colombo family was in my neighborhood, like on the other side, 13th Avenue, 11th Avenue. The Genovese, you had a couple of Genovese guys, but they really weren't deep in my neighborhood. You had the meat store on 15th Avenue in they were associated with the Genovese crew. But my neighbor was basically the Bonanos, the Gambinos, and the Lucchese. They were pretty deep in my area. Little Georgie Adamo, he had two godfathers, Eddie Lino, Anthony Sparrow. Eddie Lino was with the Gambino crew, Anthony Sparrow was Bonanno crew. When I was a kid, we knew the Mafia presence was there.
By his teen years, Jimmy started taking orders from the men in his neighborhood.
We really didn't get deep into it until our teenage years, when we started doing favors for them. For example, the first time a wise guy asked me to do something, they wanted me to throw a brick through an oil company that was across the street from Anthony Sparrow's social club. It was an oil company. And a guy by the name of Frankie Bowler told me to throw a brick through the window. And when I threw the brick through the window, I just run around the block, So that's when we really started doing things for the mob, And that's like shaking down a store. What you do is you intimidate the company. Throw a brick through the window, they don't pay, you throw a brick through the window again, until they pay the wise guy. That's how it was back then.
The harsh reality of this life would set in for Jimmy when he learned that one of his best childhood friends, John Polio, was violently murdered.
John Polio was killed 1988 on April 4th. And that was one of my first friends that were murdered. So when that happened, it really opened our eyes. A lot of wise guys was telling us don't trust nobody. And we really didn't know where it came from. And we didn't know that it came from Georgie Conti, a captain in the Lucchese crime family. On the street, we're getting a readout that it's Mikey Hamster, because he's bragging and he's taking credit for it. So we said, okay, before, something happens to one of us, we got to take care of this. So, we go on a mission looking for Mikey Hamster. So me and Calco, the kid Paulie G gives us a 380, and we go looking for the kid Mikey Hamster. This was 1988 sometime. So me and Joey Calco, we get in Joey Calco's car, we got a 380, we park in front of Georgie Chico's club, and we watch the kid Mikey Hamster getting to Bobby Chico's car. As he gets into Bobby Chico's car, we start following him. We see that he's going around to 17th Avenue, and he stops at 17th Avenue light at Benson Avenue. So as he stops at the light, we go around, and Joey Calco's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. At the light, Joey Calco pulls up right next to him, and now they're having a staring contest with each other. Joey's staring at him, Michael Hamster's staring at him, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, Joe, what the fuck, what the fuck you doing? Then Joey just pulls out the 380 and unloads on him. Pop, 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 pop. Hits him like maybe 3 times. 3 to 6 times he hits him. So after that happens, me and Joey Calco, we take off. Joey's driving, we hit 15th Avenue. There's a red light. I remember everything like it was yesterday. We skid at a light. The light's yellow, turning red. Joey skids. As he skids, there's this cop car that's near the light. He starts putting the sirens on, and he pulls us over. He pulls us over, and he asks Joey, let me see the registration on your license and insurance card. And as the officer is telling Joey, asking him for this information, we hear on the radio, civilian shot on 17th Avenue and Benson. So the guy taps the car and he goes, and he runs to his police car and he goes, today's your lucky day. And he goes towards the scene of where, Mikey Hamster got shot, so we got lucky.
Not believing their luck, the crew heads to the Verrazano Bridge to get rid of the gun.
And so we head to Staten Island. We stop in the middle of Staten Island. Joey hands me the gun. I throw it over the Verrazano Bridge. And we go to Joey's house. Joey We start calling the hospital where the kid Mikey Hamsty was, because we want to know if he's gonna die, and he ends up living. Joey ends up going to Italy for a little while, and I went to Manhattan where my father lived. So, we were both on the lam, and we needed some help. So at that time, I reached out to, I had a few people. We had Carmela Mendoza that was friendly with my family. We had Mike DeSantis. They went to go talk to the Gambino people that the kid Mikey Hamster was with, and we were just told, just don't trust these people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys are wise guys. We're young kids, so we're really not, a part of their life yet. For these wise guys, they're just saying, they're young kids, something like that. They're not taking us so serious, until later on when you start, making bodies underneath your belt and stuff like that. That's when you start getting into like the major leagues with them, But yeah, he survived. So Joey had to go to Italy for a little while. I went to Manhattan. Now Michael Hamsty was a boxer. He was a tough kid from Bay 50th. He wasn't from our neighborhood. He was a kid that, came around at Bay 23rd, and he was a boxer. And then all of a sudden he started hanging out with Bobby the Chico and the Chicos. And, Bobby the Chico, these guys, they pick and choose certain kids that they want around. We were teenagers at the time. And he took a liking into Mikey Hamster. And Bobby the Chico didn't like my friends. So this kid Mikey Hamster started threatening me and all my friends. We were kids. And he was good with his hands, this kid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he wasn't good. He wasn't as good as Paulie G. Paulie G was good with his hands. And then, there was a couple other attempts on Mikey Hamster. But Mikey Hamster was, he was a tough kid. And he wasn't too likable. Nobody liked him at this time. But, today he's a wise guy. He's a wise guy with the Gambino family. These are the things in the street that a lot of people don't know. But he eventually got made with the Gambinos. I'm out of that life. I'm saying Calco cooperated too. He's out of that life. I'm saying, don't get us wrong. Listen, we don't give a about none of these people. I'm saying, God forbid anybody knocks on my door. I answer my door with a pistol. I'm saying, I ever see anybody. So, but that's how that life is. You can't trust anybody at any time. I'm saying, whether you're in the life, you're out of life, you can't trust anybody. Paulie G wanted us to all get numbers. So one day it's me, Tommy Reynolds, and Paulie Galino. We take a ride to 18th Avenue. The guy's name is Mike. Mikey, he did tattoos in his building. And we go upstairs. We decided to get numbers. So Tommy Reynolds went first. He got a number 3. Paulie G went second. He got a number 1, and I went third. I got a number 2. So that basically started the pack of the numbers. After that was done, and then Fabrizio went, Joey Calco went, the kid Mikey Amin went, and the kid Anthony Gonzalez went. So the numbers went up to number 7. I think Joey Calco really wasn't crazy about getting a number, but that's how the numbers came about, was Paulie G. We were just forming our own little group, we were building a pack between us with the numbers. That was our crew.
By 1992, Jimmy and his crew move on to bigger scores and would end up robbing a Chase bank located in Staten Island.
The Staten Island Mall, we did that. That was actually Chris Paciello's score. Okay, Chris Paciello reached out to me. Actually, he was telling Gerard Bellafiore about it. Gerard Bellafiore was telling me about it. I touched base with Chris, and then we started watching it, and we decided to do it. When that happened, it was me, Tommy Reynolds, William Galloway, Chris Paciello, and Gerard Bellafiore. Now, Gerard Bellafiore, he was great at robbing cars and robbing banks. We planned it out. He robbed a car, had it set up. He had a crash car. Chris was in the crash car. Me and Tommy Reynolds jump out with the kid Willie Galloway. I have an axe handle. I run up to the window, I smash it, bang. After I smash it, I jump in. Tommy Reynolds follows me. The woman is putting money in a shopping cart with all canvas bags. I grab the cart, I put it over the little, whatever, separator over there. Willie grabbed it, wheels it to the van, throws in the van, and that's it. We all meet at the house. I mean, we got maybe close to $500,000 at that time. You know, so, you know, the adrenaline was going. That's one of our big scores that we did, you know, and it was very successful. Nobody got hurt. So that was actually a good one.
The crew would make off with a total of $410,000, making it their biggest heist yet.
You know, when I did that score, I really didn't give nobody no money. I'm saying we made like maybe, I would say 75,000 a piece, something like that. At that time, I was a young kid. I might have been 20 years old, maybe 21. And, you know, Paulie G at that time, we gave him a couple of dollars. Chris asked me, do I have to give anybody no money? I said, no, you don't got to give nobody nothing. So I met Chris Paciello through Gerard Bellafiore. What happened was this kid, his friend, got shot up in Staten Island. He was a drug dealer. And Gerard Bellafiore calls me, he says, Jimmy, he says, my friend Chris needs a pistol. I said, okay. I said, you know, what's going on? He explains to me one of his friends got shot up. I said, okay, yeah, I got a pistol for him. I said, for $500, I could give him a pistol at that time. So Chris said, okay, Jimmy, could you bring it to Staten Island? I met him in a hospital. That's when I first met him, with Gerard Bellafiore. I handed him a pistol and he gave me $500. And then from there, I started doing scores with him. You know, everyone thinks that Chris Paciello was a member of the Bath Avenue crew. He was never a member of the Bath Avenue crew. He never had a number on his leg, and he wasn't from Bath Avenue. I just started doing scores with him, you know? So he was a score kid. He made a lot of money. These are scores we basically did, you know, without these guys. Now, if these guys knew that we did these scores, they would want a piece of that money. So we were very careful of, you know, who we told after we did a score. Because you make money, these guys are gonna come, you know, they want a piece of it. For example, I remember Joe Benanti, he was a wise guy with the Bananas. He said, Jimmy, he says, if I knew you made that money, we could have did something with it. So, you know, he would have glommed me, he would have took a couple of dollars, he would have said he did something with it. But, you know, these guys right away, look, if you're making money, you're the goose with the golden egg, you know? I mean, you could put them on, and so you can make things happen. That's what that life is all about. It's all about making money.
While the Bath Avenue crew continues to move up the ranks, they would get word that Anthony Spiro's godson, little Georgie Adalmo, was fatally stabbed.
So if you watch the news, you might get the idea that Bensonhurst is a place where mobsters come to get killed.
What happened was little Georgie Adalmo, okay, he ends up robbing the kid Neil Nastro and this kid Fat Stevie. Okay, the kid Neil Nastro's in the car. And as he robs them, the kid Fat Stevie has a knife on him and he sticks little Georgie. Now, the kid Fat Stevie, he didn't go to kill him. I don't think he meant to kill him, but when he stuck him in his heart by accident. You know what I'm saying? So Georgie jumps out the car window and he collapses on the floor, like not too far from his house on 18th Avenue, Cropsey. So when that happened, that's Anthony Spiro's godson. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we found out that it was the kid Fat Stevie. We didn't know at that time that the kid Neil was in the car. We found out later. So we started looking for the kid Fat Stevie. We never could find him. We went to Manhattan looking for him. We went to Brooklyn in front of his house looking for him. We couldn't find him. So Paulie G, that's the other thing with Paulie G. His downfall was he would give us orders to go kill people. For example, Neil Nastro. Saying, he said, you know what? They killed one of ours. Let's kill two of theirs. You know, so we go looking for the kid Neil Nastro because we couldn't find Fat Stevie. So this particular night, I got Joey Calco in the car, Tommy Reynolds, and the kid William Galloway. Now, we don't do really much with William Galloway. William Galloway is basically, he's like a bank robber. I'm saying he was, you know, I got introduced to him through Gerard Bellafiore. So I go looking for Neil Nastro. There's a payphone. Now, back in the day, all these drug dealers, if you sold cocaine or whatever you sold, dope, whatever it was, you beep somebody. You had the beepers at the time. They knew the number of the payphones in the neighborhood. So instead of calling back the payphone, they drive directly to the payphone. You understand? So when they come directly to the payphone, they kill Nastro. He drives directly to the payphone, and he's with another guy. I don't know the guy who he is. I'm saying it ends up being his uncle. So he pulls up. When he pulls up, I pull up right in front of him where he can't go nowhere. As I pull up, the kid Tommy Reynolds jumps out of the car, and he's got a 357 on him. I see him. He opens up the door. He puts the gun to Neil Nastro's head. Boom. The other guy just looks at him. I think they were coked up, and Tommy Reynolds puts the gun to the other guy's head and just boom, kills both of them. Double homicide. For me, it's like a big thing. I'm saying a double homicide, fucking murder. I'm only like 19 years old. Tommy Reynolds gets in the car. Joey Calco got out of the car too, and he started touching the door handles. I said, Joe, what the f are you touching the car for? I'm saying. As soon as they get in my car, I just stepped on the gas and I went, and I took off down the block. And as I took off, you got this guy, you know, he's taking his time, walking down the street. You see me speeding, maybe he thought I was gonna stop, and I just ran him over and he went flying up in the air. I think he was all right. I don't think I killed him. But, you know, I wasn't gonna stick around to fucking say hi. I'm saying a double homicide. Went to Staten Island, to Verrazano, threw the gun over the bridge. We took the drugs that they had on them, stuff like that. I dropped off Calco, Tommy Reynolds, the kid Willie came with me. I went back to Paulie G's house. I told Paulie G what took place. He said, okay, you know, but, you know, that was a bad thing too, because Paulie G's sending us out to commit murders. Now, when you're on record with these wise guys, you can't just really kill people. I'm saying you have to get permission to kill people. If that was the case, people could just kill anybody. That's why you're on record with these people. I mean, you're responsible for them, they're responsible for you. Anything you do, they're responsible for you, you know? So, you know, you can't really do things like that. People do it, they do sneak attacks, you can sneak somebody, and you maybe won't tell your guy what you did, but you really are not supposed to do that. Now, you know, when I go back, Little Georgie Adamo, when we were kids, he was the leader of our crew, okay? You know, eventually he succumbed to drugs, started doing drugs, and then eventually he gets murdered, you know? But Paulie G, now Paulie G was from Bay 23rd. After John Polio was murdered, I became very tight with Paulie G. Okay, Paulie G got a memory piece of John Polio on his leg, okay? I got a memory piece of Little Georgie Adamo on my leg when he was murdered, okay? So me and Paulie G, we became very tight. Polio loved Paulie G, you know? And when Paulie G got that tattoo on his leg, you know, there was a couple of wise guys. Obviously, Georgie Conti's the one who killed John Polio. He didn't like the fact that Paulie G got the memory piece of John Polio, because, you know, that's telling Georgie Conti, wow, I gotta worry about this kid now. You got a memory piece, you're telling me that you loved this kid John Polio that I just killed. So this is how the wise guys think. I'm saying, so now they're gonna say, well, Paulie, I gotta watch out for this kid now. This kid's an up and comer, he's killing people. I'm saying, I killed his friend, so I gotta worry about him later on in life. If he becomes a wise guy, this kid might sneak me. Understand? That's how these wise guys think, you know, these killers. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you might be a big killer today, but this little guy over here, he might be a bigger killer than you later on. You know? That's how the neighborhoods work. it.